Yeah, I think we focus a lot on kind of the mental side of it, mental toughness. Just whether it be in the lifting or conditioning side of things, that's a big like cornerstone of what we do is the strength and conditioning, and just kind of building up our bodies and building up our minds allows us to hit that season kind of in full stride, I'd say.
Yeah, you got a couple new opponents on the schedule this year. You're going out to USC, got a good home slate. Oregon's coming to town. You got Penn State, all that stuff. Are there a couple teams that you're excited to go play against? Not that you're overlooking anybody, but a couple that are on the schedule. Like, hey, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, I think they're all going to be really good, fun games. We got a couple good ones at home, which I'm excited about playing them in Kinnick, like you said. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to really all of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ethan, being on the D line, how would you sum up Iowa defensive line in one sentence?
One sentence. I would say we're going to do our job and try to hit people in the mouth, pretty much. Yeah.
Ethan, you mentioned having those home games and being excited for them. You're on the team in 2021 at Penn State, last game, top 5 matchup. What do you remember about that game?
Yeah, it's actually funny. I had torn my ACL like a couple games prior to that, and I got surgery. So I was actually watching that on my couch at home in Cedar Rapids. So I remember being super happy for the guys, seeing the crowd storm the field. I was like, this is insane. It was, what was it, number 2 versus number 3 in the country, 3-4, yeah. So that was insane to see.
What is it about Kinnick that teams come in there and that end up in that sort of game, knockdown, drag out, thriller like that, I guess?
I think a big portion of it has to do with our fan base. I was telling somebody here earlier, like they're almost on the field. It seems like they're so close to the sideline and stuff. So having them in your corner and just that noise and that energy definitely helps out a lot. Like there's really nowhere else I'd rather play than Kinnick Stadium.
What stood out about the Penn State offensive line and just their offense when you faced off with them 2 years ago?
The what? Sorry.
What stood out about the Penn State line when you faced off with them 2 years ago?
Yeah, they're fundamentally very solid. They're always talented. They're always big, and they're going to play hard for 4 quarters.
You brought in a bunch of redshirt freshmen now, guys, those young guys. Can you talk about a couple of the young guys that kind of stood out and might be able to help you guys out kind of rotationally this year?
Yeah, as far as the D-line room goes, we got Chima Chineke, Joe Anderson, Drew Campbell. There's some of the redshirt freshmen DNs at least, and you got some actual freshmen coming in, and Yosei Epinesa, he should be a really good player too. So these are guys that I think should step up and get a good role going this season. I've been impressed too with our linebackers, some of the young backers like Preston Reese, Buffington. These are guys that I think have been ascending and getting a lot better. So it's fun to watch.
What have you seen from that group of 3 2024 linebackers? Because we hear a lot about them. They were a big deal coming in. What have you seen from them in practice and stuff like that?
I think they're physical, especially for their age a lot of times. I think it takes multiple years to really be playing how you want to be playing, but they've impressed me so far. And I think that also just the strength and conditioning side, these guys are some freaks of nature. I think Preston Reese broke the linebacker squat record with over 600 pounds or something freakish like that. So they're already physically pretty mature. So now it's just a matter of getting those reps in, but they should be a force to be reckoned with.
What's the potential for that group? I mean, you mentioned being a force to be reckoned with. Maybe let's revert to this season. Do you see them being impactful on special teams?
I think so, yeah. I think they can make a big difference in special teams as well as maybe rotating and, getting some defensive reps perhaps. I don't know what that room's looking like as much as the D-line room, obviously, but they're guys that do things the right way, and they have some older guys ahead of them that are going to show them, the steps and that it takes to be at that level too. So I think that they're in a good spot for sure.
You've been around for some of that linebacker turnover. I mean, going from Jack to Jay and now Jaden and Carson. What have you seen from them? Maybe why would you expect them to continue that tradition or step up and play well this year?
Yeah, I think it all kind of stems from Coach Wallace and the culture that he's created inside that room. He's created it to be where the younger guys are really looking to the older guys that are playing and seeing how it's done and learning and working in practice to kind of behind the scenes become that player. As you saw, Jack Campbell was the guy, and then he kind of passed off that role to Jay Higgins. And I think these younger guys have kind of been watching how they played, and they can kind of emulate their style off that.
Kane said he was shocked when he got the news that he was coming out here. Why did his teammates vote for him?
Vote for Cohen?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Cohen.
No, you're good. I think that they voted for him because they see how he goes to work every single day. He's a guy that's going to come in there and do things right, in and out, on and off the field. He's also a guy that he's very vocal in his leadership style, and I think guys kind of gravitate towards that. And they see what he can be. He can be a really good player, and I think he will just have a breakout year, honestly. He's a freak athlete, and he takes the game serious and does things the right way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is he strong?
How was your wedding?
It was great. It was an amazing day. I didn't really plan much of it. My wife planned a lot of it, but she did a great job, her and her family, and it all came together great, and it was awesome.
Logan said he was your best man.
Yep.
What's that like to have a teammate be your best man?
It was
Still
awesome.
together.
Yeah, I had almost my whole wedding party was like alumni of the program and teammates that I've had. And to have Logan be my best man and kind of give that speech, it was emotional. Like he was getting emotional, and it meant a lot to me to hear kind of what he had to say.
Who else was in your wedding party?
I had Logan Lee, Joe Evans was in it, Tom Hartley, Quinn Schulte, a couple high school buddies, and I'm probably forgetting somebody, but yeah.
You've had a pretty unique journey because you came in, you were like linebacker size. It was, almost like the Mitch King story a little bit. Sometimes you put on the weight and become a lineman. What's that process been like?
Yeah, I just thought Jack Johnson was in that too, actually, in my group. But coming in as a linebacker and having to put on that weight and stuff, it's kind of like a hurdle that you have to get over before you're really able to play how you want to play, just because in the Big Ten, obviously, there's some super big, strong offensive linemen that you have to be able to physically contend with. So that takes a little bit to kind of get to that level. But it definitely kind of made me appreciate it more when I did get physically able to compete, I'd say.
You touched on it earlier, just being a player that Coach Ferentz looks at and says, I want you to represent Iowa Hawkeyes at Big Ten Media Days. After being here now, what does it feel like for you to be one of those players that's looked at, he trusts and says he represents who we are? How does that feel for you?
It means a lot, honestly. I mean, it's surreal to be out here. This is something that, I would have dreamed of when I was in high school, just getting this opportunity to represent the University of Iowa. And to kind of have him sign off on that, it means a lot that he puts that trust in me.
Those two defensive tackles that were brought in from the portal, and Bryce and Jonah, I've heard a little, I think we've all heard a little bit about Bryce being kind of a freak, and Jonah's obviously super experienced. How much value do those guys bring this coming year?
They bring a lot of value. They bring a lot of depth. And I think that more than anything, they bring just like a good vibe to the D-line room. They're two super funny guys in their own ways. And yeah, I think that they kind of gave us a lot of energy that we feed off of, and yeah, it's great to have them.
What have you seen from Bryce? Talking about him being a little bit of an athletic freak, what have you seen from him?
Yeah, he's got that twitch to him. He's got that speed and that burst, that get off, to where you're like, wow, he moves really well for a big guy. He's a D tackle, but he's moving almost like an end, it seems like. And he's a young guy, but I think that the sky's really the limit for him. He's already got tools in his bag and stuff like that, but he's got that athletic base that I think he can really build upon.
Heard a little bit about the offense, giving the defense a little bit of trouble, maybe in the spring or in working out and stuff like that. What would you agree with that? Have you felt like they've been maybe giving you a few punches here and there?
Yeah, I think they've improved a lot. They've got a lot of good players and guys that have stepped up and kind of filled those voids. And I think that they've had, a lot of good plays against us, and they've really competed with us hard. It's been pretty back and forth, which is good to see. I'm very hopeful for the season.
A lot of talk about Mark being a leader, Gronowski coming in and not assuming that position, but earning it. I guess from your vantage point, being on the opposite side of the field, How have you seen that? Have you been, I don't know if you've even like been interacting with Mark a ton, but I guess have you seen some of that from Mark?
I have seen it from him. We would kind of, go out to breakfast, meet him and Logan, and just kind of get to know him when he first got here. And he's a real, genuine, down-to-earth guy, which is what you need and what you look for in a leader, I think. You don't want somebody that's going to be all, flashy and trying to command people around. Like you said, it's all about building those relationships, and he's done that. He's also kind of just showed who he is by how he works every day. He's coming in, he's going hard, putting his nose in the grindstone, and it's been fun to watch.
Thanks, Ethan.
Yeah, thank you.